The great philosopher Beanie Siegel said,
Yes, great
sometimes you
philosopher.
gotta
Shout
go
out to
away
Beans.
to make a comeback. And most of the niggas that go don't even come back.
That's true.
These things staying true throughout time. You know what I mean? Throughout time. Now, somebody that went away and came back, and then shortly thereafter we lost. First words you heard when you walked in this building was, "It's a great hoodie."
Yes.
Can we speak to my brother Chris Cotton, please?
Yo, Chris was one of the nicest.
Comedy Central Chris.
Yes.
By the way.
Yes. Chris Cotton was one of the nicest people I ever met in my life.
Absolutely.
And I consider him a friend because he would call me outside of comedy. And he would give great advice. Now, when I first started doing stand-up, and still to this day, a lot of my stuff is one-liners, quick hitters, and puns.
Mm-hmm.
To a lot of people, puns are terrible and hacky.
Yeah.
Chris hates puns.
Mm-hmm.
But he said the way you do what you're doing, you make the crowd enjoy it. And so I would never tell you to stop doing puns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
because it works for you.
Right. And
it works for you,
that's
it works
the kind
for you.
of dude he was. Me and him, we used to have conversations about religion. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't really that religious. But if I'm not mistaken, his father is a pastor. Right? And so he would go to his father's church, you know, not every week, but maybe 2 or 3, you know, I mean, a couple times a month. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he was big on being together with his family and that kind of thing. And me, I was raised in the Baptist church, and then I also went to Catholic school.
Me too.
And so
I'm with you.
a lot of that stuff
gets crazy.
It
gets
and then
crazy.
you know, then you
I used
hear
to challenge theology all the time.
I still do. And I don't challenge it.
Not, I mean, in class, like in Catholic school. Yeah. The priest used to look at me like, you know, I can't answer that.
Right, but I wouldn't challenge it in that way. Me, I was more so like, yo, we was going to church every Sunday, and then we would have the joints where, like revival. So you would be at church every night of the week, and the pastor would preach on.
But that's club church. That's
club
homecoming.
Church.
That's homecoming. That's homecoming
right.
week.
But they all right. So what they would do with the revivals at the church I used to go to, they would take like one paragraph, maybe like 4 or 5 verses, 6 verses, and every pastor that week would preach on the same verses,
right? But
they would all spin it a different way,
right?
And it's like, yo.
This is performance art at its best.
Right. Like, so I...
You know they say preaching the final hustle. My bad.
Anyway. Nah, you good.
You know they say that, right?
Listen, right? And I don't know if it's a comedian that said it or somebody said this. And because I didn't come up with this idea on my own, but when I heard it, I was like, yo, that's pretty good. If you look at America today, there's not a big difference between pastors and pimps.
A lot of them were.
And that's not even a color thing.
No.
That's like a hustle thing. Mm-hmm. And so, plus with me and religion, I went back, I did a lot of searching. There are at least 13 deities that were born to a virgin in a manger on December 25th. Easter is really Ishtar, which is like a Hindu goddess that changes it from winter back to being fertile in the spring and that kind of stuff. And I was like,
which is an earth thing,
right? And a lot of religions come from astrology. Like all of it is star talk,
and a lot of the rules are based on geography.
Agreed. And so it's like
I don't want
to have a fight or an argument over what color Jesus was.
I don't have to.
I'm not going to.
I don't feel the urge to.
And if religion makes your life better, if your spirituality makes you a better person,
if Allah makes my son a better man than Jesus can,
who am I to step in front? Yeah.
It's the Minister Society line.
But see, that's the thing.
Shout out to Charles Dutton, by the way.
Yeah, I met him in the airport.
The
first time I ever flew, we was flying from Orlando back to Philadelphia, and when we went to go pick our bags up, Boy, he was standing in line waiting
Bro,
for his.
he used to be in the market
like,
by
yo,
my
you
college all the
so
time.
cool.
I went to school in Baltimore. He used to be out there all the time, right off Perrin Parkway. He'd be in the market in the middle of the night by himself.
Yeah, because that's probably the one time he could go and not be bothered.
But he was regular though, like super regular.
Yeah, he's a regular dude.
He don't want no attention.
If you look back into his stuff, he was like, yo, I did all kinds of shit.
Right.
And then I ended up acting and like.
But he was brilliant though.
I
he
heard.
gave speeches on them shows, or I got a personal homie that he was trying to help make a change at one point.
Okay.
And my man called me and was like, bro, the only person that know Baltimore like better than me is you. Like, if I'm gonna move out there, you gonna come with me? Because he was gonna put him up.
Okay.
And I'm like, bro, just go.
Yeah, you can't. Some
Just
things
go.
you're just not supposed to say no to.
I'll pull up. Just go.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't no acting shit. He took an interest in this guy, and he said, I see you look like you going through some things.
I want to
Come
help you.
figure something out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Those that can do, man. Those that can.
That's why I
do.
said shout out Charles Dutton when we got there. We going hard, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. But yeah, but we was talking about Chris.
Oh, back to Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good. I've only seen him mad one time, and the one time I saw him mad, he was being provoked by somebody who's still a comedian, who's not going to be named. But it's like, how do you make the meekest person? Like, cause he wasn't a pushover. He wasn't a
He
pussy.
didn't walk around like where he was from though.
Right, he was from South Philly.
Right,
Like, he was from.
He grew up with everybody.
He grew up with Point Breeze.
he
like,
grew up with everybody.
and so, but he was just kind
Yep.
and cool, and he loved music as much as he loved comedy, and he lived for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I still miss him, man. I really do. And it wasn't like we was daily operation friends, but I couldn't go a week or 2 weeks without seeing him. Like, it'd be sometimes like, so the open mic king thing doesn't bother me anymore. But at the time, we'll say between 2012 and we'll go 2016, I was on stage at least 7 times a week. You know what I'm saying? With the comedy week being from
I know rappers like that. Open mic showcase.
right.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you gotta go get, because I'm not a dude, and I
salute it.
I still can't sit in, I can't sit in my house and there's mirrors in my living room. I can't sit in the house and just do stand up. I have to be either in front of people, or I can't practice it that
There's
way.
also another thing of like, if you got work, you can't do nothing with it in the house. Work don't sell in the house.
I heard that, but like, there's other stuff that I'm doing that I can do in the house, but I just can't
if
perform.
it's comedy, you need to get that work in the streets.
Yeah,
the work
for sure.
got to be in the streets,
For sure.
bro.
That, I get what you're saying. You're saying no shower shoes in the day room, right? That's what you said. And I agree with that. Like, but at home, like
You're so right. But go ahead.
like the last joke that I wrote, me, my lady, and my son came up with it in the car. You know what I'm saying? And I was saying something to him, and he was just out the blue, like, but you don't put a butt on that. And instantly in my head, I went
shit.
BBL. So I'm like, and I've tried it on stage and I'm working on it, but I was like, you know, and my lady is a big proponent of this as well. If you say something, if you say a sentence and you put butt in it, it negates everything that came before that sentence.
Those is niceties and fluff.
Right. So it's like, I had a great time, but it's like, well, you didn't have a great time. I love you, but you don't love me. That's what you're telling me. But nobody looks at a woman about to get a BBL and says, don't put a butt on that.
You know what's crazy? I've said it. You don't need it. You good.
Most times they don't even talk to anybody about it before they do it. And
yeah, they sneaking off and then they hide, and then
ladies, if you need to know, yeah, definitely don't put a butt on that. But ladies, I can't speak for all men. I can't even speak for just black men. But most men prefer you as you are. If we're barking up your tree, it's because we want to meet the real you.